welcome back. I have a new multipliers Sudoku here to do. You can try it yourself in the link below, or you can just watch through the video and see how to do it. It's quite a tricky one. I'll just start by reading through the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Two of the numbers in the cages add to a third number in the cage. So that's fairly self-explanatory. If that's a 1 and a 2, that would have to be a 3. So two of them have to add to the third, any two numbers in all these cages. All dots between numbers that are multiples of each other are shown, either 2, 4, 2, 6, 2, 8, 4, 8, 3, 6 or 3, 9. So these dots here between cells have to contain either 2, 4, so 2, 4, 2, 6, like that could be 3, 6. It couldn't be a 9 there, for example, because you couldn't have a 3 there and a 3 there, and 3 is the only thing that goes with 9. There's no 157s next to dots because there's no multiples of them, as you can see from the list here. And that's about the only rules, so let's get started. Where to start is a big question with this one. There's a lot of dots here in the middle, there's a lot of dots up here. I'll start by putting all the things up here that we could possibly have. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. So that's just everything except 157. Now you can't have a 9 here because 3 is the only thing that goes with 9, and you can't have 3, 3. So that one's not a 9, that's not a 9 for the same reason, that's not a 9, and that's not a 9 because you can't have two 3s in the same cage. That one could be a 9 because that's a different, oh sorry, cage. When I say cage I mean in this block. That's not a 9 because you could have one in that block and that's okay. So that could be a 9, I mean. Don't know if there's much else I can eliminate there at the moment. I'll go down and try these ones. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. Now down here, what have we got? We've got a cage here with 3 in it. That should help eliminate some things. 9, 3, 6, 9. Okay, if that was a 9, that would have to be a 3, and that would have to be a 6 to add up to 9. And the big thing in this Sudoku is it says all dots between numbers are shown. So that means if there's not a dot there, for example, I couldn't have a 3 and a 6 there because 3 and 6 are multiples of each other. So the negative constraint is going to eliminate a lot of things. So 9, 3, that would have to be a 6, and it can't be, or there'd be a dot here. So that means that can't be a 9. If that was an 8, I'll just put in the things that it could be. 2, 4 is all you can have with an 8. So 8, 2, that would have to be 6 to add up to 8. And you can't have a 2, 6, or there'd be a dot there. Oops, so that one you can't have a 2. 8, 4, that would have to be 4. You can't have two 4s. So that means that's not an 8. 6 would have to be a 2. Oops, it would have to be a 2 or a 3 there. 6, 2 would have to be a 4, and you can't have a 2, 4 without a dot. Or 6, 3, 3, you can't have two 3s. So that means it's not a 6. 4, 2, 6 you can't have. 4, 8, 4 you can't have, so it can't be a 4. Oops. 3, 6, 9, 3, you can't have that. But you could have 3, 9, 6, 2, that would work. So that could be 3, oops, I keep clicking on the wrong thing. 3, 9, that would be 6 to add up to 9. And that would have to be a 2 because we can't have another 3. And then that would be a 4 or an 8. So that works. Oh, and then for a 3 here, you could have a 6 or a 9. You can't have a 9 because you'd have to have another 3 actually. So you could have 3, 6, 2 would be the, there are all the possibilities. I'll put the 3 there. There are all the possibilities with the 3. If that's a 2, you could have a 4, 8 there. 2, 4, 6 is the only thing you can have, or 2, 8, 6 is the only thing you can have. Huh. And then you'd have to have a 3 and a 9 because you can't have another 6. And that means that one has to be a 6. No matter whether that's a 2 or a 3, that has to be a 6. So that I might just eliminate all of these. 4, 8, 9 is left there. Clear that whole box. That can be a 4, an 8 or a 9. And that can only be a 2 or a 3 by the looks of it. Clear that. That can only be a 2 or a 3. Clear, whoops, clear that. That can only be a 4, 8 or 9. Let's get rid of the 6 up there. Which I think gets rid of the 3 there. And does it get rid of the 3 there? I think it does. Because the 3 only goes with a 6 or a 9. So that gets rid of the 3 there. Now if that's a 2, 4, 6, 8, you can't have a 2 next to there or there'd be a dot. So that can't be a 2. You could have a 6 with an 8, for example, or an 8 and a 9 or something like that. So I think 2 is the only thing I can eliminate there at this stage. Okay, go back down here again. So with the 2, 3 there, the 2 could be with a, whoops, a 4 or an 8, and a 4 and an 8. So they're the only possibilities here. So 2, 4, 8 in that one. I'll get rid of that. That one can only be 2, 4, 8, and that one can be 4, 6, 8. 4, whoops, why am I clicked on that one? Go back, what did I do? I somehow muck that up there. So that can only be 2, 4, 8, get rid of that. 2, 4, 8, and that one, 4, 6, 8. 4, 6, 8. Okay, so that's all the possibilities there. Now that one can't now be a 2, and that can't be a 2. 2, 6, hang on, that could be a 3 after a 6. 2, 6, that could also be a 3. 3, 6, 2, or 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, they're all the possibilities there. But that means that one can't be a 2 because it divides into each of those. That one could be a 2 if that's a 3. No, we don't know yet. What else have we got? These ones here. We'll do these ones. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. That can't be a 6. That can't be a 9 because you can't have a 3 and a 3 either side. So that's nothing to go with that 3 there now, or that 3 there. I can still have 9, 3. No, I can't have 9, 3 because that would have to. Oh yeah, I could have 9, 3, 6. 9, 3, 6. Yeah, that's possible. So I can still have those at this stage. What can we have here? 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. And that one can't be a 2. That one can't be a 9. 9, 3, 6 is possible if that's a 4, 8. If it's a 4, 8, 4, 8. What might these might, we'll see what goes in here. That might resolve like this one a bit actually. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, 9, 3, that would have to be a 6, and that would have to be a 6, so that can't be a 9. 8, 2, 6, can't have because there's no dot. 8, 4, you can't have, so that can't be an 8. 6, 3, and that would have to be a 9. And if that's a 3, that would have to be a 6 or a 9, so you can't have a 6 there. 4, 2 would have to be a 6, and there's no dot. 4, 8 would have to be a 6. It would have to be a 4, and you can't have that. So 2, 3 is going to be like this one. I think once again you can have the 2 or the 3. So 2 can go with, I'll just put them in like this, 4, 8, and 4, 8, and 6. And 3 can go with 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 2. That would work. 3, 6, 9, 2. 3, 9, 3 you can't have, so you can't have the 9 there. So that's the only options you can have there. Now, either way there was a 6 there, wasn't there? Because it was either 2, 4, 8, 6 or 3, 6, 9. So that tells us a 6 there, which eliminates that 6 from there. Definitely, yes. So that means if there's no 6 there, can I have 9, 3, 6? I still can have 9, 3, 6. So that didn't really help a great deal. But let's try which one of these and see which one of these might work. So if that's a 3, that has to be a 6, and that has to be a 2. Now if that's a 2, you can't have a 2, 4, 6 or 8 there, or there'd be a dot, so that would have to be a 3. Now if that's a 3, we have to have a 6 and a 9 here and here. The 6 can't go there because there's a 6 there. 6 can't go there because there's a 6 there. So that means that that 3 doesn't work. Back, 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 which means that's a 2. It can still be 4, 6 or 8. That can't be a 2. Now if that's a 4, 6 or 8, does that help with this at all? 3, 4, depends on what that is as to what that is. If it's a 3, it can't be a 3. If it's a 4, 8, it can't be a 2, 4, 8, but we don't know what that is at this stage. So that's a bit tricky. Oh, it gives us this one up here though, 3, 9, and that can't be a 9, that has to be a 4 or an 8. Okay, it helped a little bit. That's not a 2, that's not a 3. Does that help here at all? 3, you can still have 6, 9, 4, 8, you can still have 2, 4, 8. So I don't think that wiped anything else out there. 3, 6, 4, 8, no, that looks fine. That's not a 3, that's not a 9. 2, 6, 4, yeah, they're still possible. Okay, now this is either 4, 8, 4, 8 or 6, 3. Which one of those? If we take the 4, 8, let's try the 4, 8. Because that gets rid of this one and means that has to be a 2. And then we've got 2, 4, 8, and that means that has to be a 6. I'll see if this works. Now, if that's a 6, the 3 can't have a 3 and a 9, or you'd have to dot between the 3 and the 6. So the 9 can't go there and the 9 can't go there, so the 9 has to go there. I've got a 4, 8 pair there. 2, 6, so that 2, 6, 4, 8, we go to 1, 5, 7 and a 3. Where can the 3 go? The 3 can't go there or there next to that 6. If the 3 goes there, the 9 goes there. A 3, oh, 3 can't go there, so the 3 has to go there, doesn't it? It can't go in that row, it can't go next to the 6. So the 3 would have to go there, which means that tells us the 9 has to go there, which leaves 1, 5, 7 there. Now what that tells us, 3, 6, 3, 6, we have to have a 3 and a 6 there. It's also a 9 and a 9 there and there in those two rows, so we have to have a 9 there. Now, how can we put a 3, 6, 9 here when there's no dots? You can't. So that's not possible. So back, 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 back. That has to be a 6, not a 4, 8. That was my initial assumption, was the 4, 8. So that's going to be a 3, 6. Oh, get rid of that, get rid of that. Oops. Okay, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Now that's a 6, that can't be a 3. No 3 there, that can't be a 9. That can't be a 6, and that can't be a 9 now, so let's narrow that down a bit. Now what have we got in here? The 9 can't go there next to the 3, can't go there, so 9 has to go in one of those spots. And now in this box here, we have to have another 2, 4 or 8 somewhere. So it can't go there or there next to that one, or there'd be a dot. It can't go next to that one, or there'd be a dot. Can't go there next to that one, or there'd be a dot. So the 2, 4, 8 has to go here. That means that one is the 9. And that leaves us 2, 4, 8 triple, so we've got a 1, 5, 7 left in there. Okay, now what about, that can't be a 2 because it's next to a 6 and there'd be a dot if it was, so that gets rid of the 2. Let's get rid of the 2 in that. Oh, for goodness sake, in that box. That means that has to be a 2 there. So there can't be a 2 there. Can't be a 2 there or there because there'd be dots next to those boxes. There can't be a 2 here because they would all add up 2, 4, 6. There'd have to be a dot. 2, 6, 8. There'd have to be a dot. Can't have 2 and 2. So that means that 2 has to be there, which means there is a 2 here. Get rid of that 6. Can't be a 2 there next to that 4, 8. Also we've got a 4, 8 pair here in this row now, so that can't be a 4, 8. So that's a 2, 9. That makes that a bit simpler. Let's have a look at this again now. So if that's a 2, that can be 4, 8, 4, 8, 2, 6, 3, 9. If that's a 9, it can be 3, 6, 2, whoops, 2. We've got here 3, 6, 2. That's got to be a 4, 8, 4, 8. We've got 9, 3, 6, 2, 4, 8. So that would have to be 2, 4, 8. So it doesn't matter what that is. This one is a 2. And that eliminates that 2, which means that is the 2 because there had to be a 2 along here. So that's, whoops, that one has to be the 2. That's now not a 2. That's not a 9 or a 6 either. We've got rid of the 3 there. Okay, that's not a 2, not a 2, 2. So that one's now a 4 or an 8. I'll just get rid of them and just do it like that. That's a 4, 8. That's a 4, 8, 2. That one has got to be a 6. And that one has to be a 3. And that one can only now be a, can still be a 6 or a 9. That one, can't tell which one that is at this stage. Okay, that's done a fair bit. What now? Let's look at these numbers here. 3, 6, 3, 6. That means we can't have a 3, 6 there or there, so they have to be here. And they can't go next to each other because there'd be a dot between them. So that means the 3, 6 pair in this column, in this row, sorry, have to be there and there. Also, there has to be a 9 down here because of those 2 9s. And 9 can't go next to the 3, but we don't know where it is yet. So what else have we got? 2. 2 can't go there. 2 can't go next to the 6s. It doesn't matter where the 6 is, it's either there or there, so the 2 can't go there. Whoops, can't go there. That means there's a 2 up there. That gets rid of that 2 and tells us that the 2 is there. Now what? Anything else we can do with 2s at this stage? It tells us there's a 2 there. It doesn't really help much, does it, at this stage? Let's put these in and see what we get. So, try 3 at once. Okay, that can be 2. It can't be 3. It can be 4. It can't be 6. It can be 8. It can't be 9. So that can be 2, 4, 8. So that could be a 6. And that could be 3, 2, 4, 8. Not bad. That tells us that there's, in this row here, all we're left with there is a 1, 5, 7. So that means the 2 doesn't go there, which means the 2 can only go there. So that's not a 2. It doesn't eliminate anything there yet. That does tell us though that has to be the 3 and that has to be the 6. So that can't be the 9 there. Oops, because you can't have a 3 next to a 9 without a dot. And that makes that a 9. tells us you can't have a 9 there. So that is the 9 there. And that means that's 3. And that one has to be 2. So it's got to be 2, 4, 8, 2, 6, 8. Why couldn't we have 2, 6, 8, 3? Did I not look at that combination before? 2, 6. 2, 6, 8. Oh, you can't because there's a 3. There's got to be a 3 there. But I don't think I looked at that combination before, but it can't be that anyway, luckily. 2, so it's got to be 2, 4, 8, 6. So it's got to be a 6. And that can't be a 2. Yeah, you definitely can't have 2, 6, or that would have to be a 3, and there's a 3 there. Cool. So up here now, that's not a 4, 8. That's got to be a 2. That's a 4, 8. How the 2's going? Surely we can get some more of those now. That one's a 2. And we've got all but this one in this box. Can't be there, can't be there, can't be there, can't be there. It's got to be there. Get rid of those. That now has to be a 4 or an 8. What else have we got? There's 2 3s there and there. 3 can't go next to the 6 or the 9 without a dot. So that one's a 3. And these have to add up together. So it's got to either be a 1 or a 5. What else do we have? 9, that has to be a 1 or an 8. Can't be 2 7, can't be 3 6, could be 4 5. So that's going to be either 1 8 or 4 5. This box here, that can't be a 1 now, it has to be a 5 7 to add up to 2. That one must be the 1. So that can't be a 1 8. This one up here, you can't have 6 9 3, or there'd have to be a dot there. So that means a 9 has to go there. That's got to be a 1 5 pair. That leaves, that 9 can only go there. And what has to go there? 1 2 6, is it? 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, that's only be a 6 there. And that might, we won't be able to get some more 6s, can we? 6 can't go there or there. That's got to be a 6. 6 has to go there or there. Can't go next to the 2, so that's got to be a 6. That tells us that that has to be a 6. And that's all of the 6s. Yep. Now what? There's a row with not much in it. That one. This one. 4 8 1 5. That leaves 1. What are we missing in this row? 1 2 3 4. There's a 1, a 5, and a 7 missing here. 1 5. Look. That one. 1 5 7 missing in that row. This row here is missing a 1, 3, or 5. So that's not a 3. 1 3 5 there. That means that's not a 5. 1 5 7. That still doesn't tell us which one that is. What's missing here? Ooh, that's a bit too hard, isn't it, at this stage, I think? If we look at this box, there's got to be a 9 there somewhere. We've got 1 2 3 and a 4 8. There's got to be another 4 8 in this box. Can't go next to the 2, so that has to be a 4 8, and that has to be the 9. And then 1 3 5 7. Can't get anything else out of that at this stage. Oh yes, we can. 1 3 5. So that's got to be the 7, because the 1 has to go there. That's not a 7. And that tells us that one has to be the 7, doesn't it? Yes, it's the only spot the 7 will go in that box. It's not a 7. What does that leave us with here? 1 2 3 4 7 8, is it? I think 4 7 8. Yep. Now, what numbers add up to 3 from there? We can only have 3, 4, and 7, so that one's got to be the 8. Okay, what else is there? And that 8 doesn't help with anything much, so that's the only 8 I've got so far. This row here has to be 9. It'll be a 9, and it can't go there. It can't go there next to the 3, so that's got to be a 9. Now the other 9 has to go there. 4, 8. That leaves 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 5 for there. 1, 5, 7 in that row, 1, 5, 7 is missing in that row, and that's the same in this box. There's a 1, 5, 7 missing in that box. And in this row here, there's another 1, 5, 7 missing there. That leaves a 4, 8 there. Ah, there you go. The 8 finally came in handy. 4, 8. Is that all? Oh no, 4. Another one there. 8, 4, 8. 4. Now I left the, you can call them cheats if you like, on because I thought this puzzle was hard enough without leaving them on. And it helps to see where things go. That's an 8. That's got to be a 1 to add up to 9. 4, 5, 5, 1. And it might just resolve itself from now on, will it? No, it's not going to completely. That's still a 1, 5, 7. Not a 5 or a 7. It's not going to resolve itself nicely, is it? What's missing in this row? 1, 5 and a 3. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. And 1, 3, 5. Now this row, let's go to go with a 4, so we know with a 4 we could have a 1 and a 3, or a 1 and a 5. Can't have 2, can't have 3, can't have 4, can't have 5, can't have 6, 7, 4, 7, 3, that's a possibility. 4, 8 you can't have, 4, 9, there's a 9 there. So they're the only ones we can have there. That tells us that one's a 1. That's a 7. Not a 1, not a 7. 3, 5. That should give us that one up the top in that row up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's got to be a 7. And that's a 1, so that's got to be an 8. 5, 3, 7. That's not a 7. Not a 7. I need something else. That one. Can't tell whether that's a 1 or a 5 still. What about down here? 8 has to be 3, 5, so that has to be the 1, doesn't it? Oops, 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 oops. That not a 1, that's supposed to be. That gives that one a 5. It might all fall into place now with any luck. 1, 5, 1. And we're left with a 3, 5 pair. Surely not. Oh no, thank goodness. There's a cage here. So that one's a 3. Oops, that one has to be a 3 to go with the 4, 7, 5, 3, 5. Oh, there we go. Very tricky Sudoku. One of the big things was to remember the negative constraints. It made such a big difference to that one. I hope you enjoyed that one and come again for more.